this year I did a video showing you guys how I braid my hair with yarn, and a couple of weeks ago I did another video walking you guys through the process of how I did my hair like this. But I did do a video of me showing you guys how I take care of my braids and tips and tricks leading up to it. So this is the video here. So here's some things that I do and things that I don't do first before I tell you how I get to taking care of the braids once they're already in. I do not blow dry my hair before braiding it. I do not straighten my hair before braiding it. I absolutely do not use any type of waxes, gels, jams, or edge controls to keep the parts neat or make it easier to braid. Like, this hairstyle is for textured hair. Your hair needs to be textured. Like, I don't know who started this thing in the braiding world where y'all started using all these gels and jams, waxes, edge control on your scalp, but that is going to cause your scalp to suffocate and not have it last long. And it's just going to be so irritating to your scalp. So if you're braiding your own hair, then just don't do those things, because it's just going to irritate your skin and it's just going to overstimulate you even more. And you just, like, you don't want to do that. It's just, like, it's so annoying to deal with. I highly recommend you stay away from that. I highly recommend, no matter what hair you use to braid with, whether it's yarn, synthetic, human, or what, always wash your hair before putting it in your hair and make sure that the hair is completely dry. So wash it with soap, detergent. I use detergent because this is yarn. Use some type of soap to wash your hair before putting it into your head. You do not want to put dirty braiding hair into your hair. It is just gonna irritate your skin so much, and you just don't want that. Another thing that I highly recommend you do is wash your hair and scalp before you braid your hair. Believe me, those are two separate things. So when you're washing your scalp, you're like rubbing in your scalp, you're scratching your scalp, you're getting all this dirt and debris off. And when you're washing your hair, you're like massaging the hair on your scalp and working the shampoo through your hair. Another thing I recommend you guys get is peppermint, some type of peppermint or eucalyptus soap. I use the Dr. Castile brand, like 20-in-1 soap, and I add that to my shampoo. I have a fragrance-free shampoo because I'm allergic to perfume, and the peppermint soap does not irritate my skin like other fragrance stuff does. So I use it on my scalp and my shampoo because it just makes my scalp feel clean. If you plan on adding beads to your hair like this, especially if you want different colors, there are certain bead containers that will already come with these things that kind of work like needle threaders, but this is kind of short and will only work for like a couple of beads at best. If you plan on doing like 5 or 6 beads like this, they're nice and long, you want to invest in the longer version of this tool. So like, this is a tool that comes when you buy the beads. Like, some bead containers have this, and this is like a tool separately that's maybe like $1 or $2. I think 2 came in the pack. One of them are white, one of them are pink. One was white, one was black, and then this one's pink. Anyways, you want the nice longer version of this tool if you plan on doing like a full stack of beads like this, because you're gonna be able to fit more beads on this part and be able to get it in there easier, because I don't know, it'll just make things easier. Like, however people were putting beads in their hair back in the day without this tool, I don't know. Especially multiple beads like this, you definitely want the longer version instead of the shorter version. If you only want to do 1 or 2 beads at the end of your hair, then sure, the shorter version will work. But if you want to do longer, then you definitely need this, because it's just going to make it so much easier. And if you are doing yarn braids and you plan on doing beads, you want to gradually start cutting the ends and braiding it into there to make the braid get skinnier because it's not going to naturally get skinnier if you're doing thicker braids like this. Like if you were to be using some type of hair. If you're using like some type of braiding hair, then it's gonna naturally get skinnier on its own. You don't have to cut it for the most part. But if you're doing yarn, it's not gonna get skinnier. It's just like it's gonna stay the same, the full length, depending on how you cut it. So if you want to add beads, you want to gradually start like braiding your hair, clipping some of the ends to make it skinnier. And if you're looking to see an example of that, you can check out my previous videos of me braiding my hair where I show you guys me doing it. So this is the tips and tricks on how I personally care for my yarn braids and how I preserve them, how I protect them, and everything I do to help prepare for braiding my hair and afterwards. When you wash your hair, don't put any type of gel in your hair. Don't put a whole lot of like curl creams and products in your hair. Like put something in your hair to detangle it and oil it properly, but don't put a whole lot of stuff in your hair. And when you oil your scalp, you want to use like some type of oil, like tea tree oil, peppermint oil, something like that, to help like oil your scalp and make it feel more invigorated. So like once your hair is all nice and braided, every couple of days, at least once or twice a week, you really want to take like a makeup wipe. I used this like a day ago. So this looks like this because I use it on my scalp. So what I do is like I go in between my parts with the makeup wipe. You can use a makeup wipe, a baby wipe, or I don't know, a damp towel or something, to like go in between your parts and just wipe down all the extra oils, build up dandruff flakes and stuff that you would get. And I got this from TikTok Shop, but you can get this from anywhere. But this is a facial cleanser, but it is an antimicrobial spray. So this is the bottle that I use. And then after I get done wiping down my scalp, I go in it with this type of spray to help break down, bacteria and stuff. Because a lot of times when your hair is itching, it's because your scalp is dirty. It's because the hair is dirty, and your scalp is more exposed to the air, is more exposed to the sun. So you're more likely to be overstimulated. So you really want to make sure that your scalp is clean when you have braids. You want to make sure your hair is clean and everything. So that's another thing I do to help take care of my braids. You want to get yourself a nice big bonnet. So this is one of the bonnets that I have. Is double lined. It's really big. It's like a puffy chef hat. And this is really great because it's big enough to cover my hair. It's big enough to fit all my braids in. And it's nice and roomy and, doesn't fit. It's not like super fitted. Do not get the type of braid bonnets that are just the super skinny narrow tube. It's going to pull at your edges and just be a nightmare to deal with. If you get a bonnet and the elastic is too tight, especially when you have braids, you don't want to use that because it's going to cause tension on your edges. And this is supposed to be a protective style, and you want to protect your edges at all costs. So this is another bonnet I have that is a braid bonnet, and this is long. So if you want to like put your hair back and have it be long, this is nice and wide. It has room for my braids to move. I actually have two of these kinds. So this is the kind that I have for home. And then I have another one exactly like this that I wear to the gym. But the way that I'm able to tell them apart is this band is black and that band is cheetah. So you want to get a bonnet that you wear to the gym and ones that you have for home, and you don't want to mix the two because you don't want to bring all the germs from the gym to your home. Like whatever stuff that's like on the machines or the floor or whatever you're doing at the gym, you don't want to bring that home to your bed. Even if you're wiping down the machines with the disinfected wipe and spray and all that, you still don't want to bring that home to your bed when you sleep. So have a bonnet for the gym, have a bonnet for the home, and don't mix the two. Have them be different colors or just something different about them. Another thing that I do for my braids is I have a giant shower cap. Shower cap is really big, like this bonnet. It looks exactly like this, but it is a shower cap. And I got one that's big enough to fit all my braids in, and is nice and roomy and not tight or anything. Because if my hair is kind of up like this and I don't feel like taking it down for whatever reason, or whatever the hell, or I have like beads, that adds a little extra weight to my hair. I have like these type of hair accessories. Well, this isn't technically a hair accessory, but I made it into a hair accessory. I put it in my hair and it's an accessory, so it's a hair accessory. But like when I have all these different things in my hair, I want to be able to comfortably put that into a shower cap. I don't recommend you getting your hair wet, especially if you're using yarn braids. Even when you're using synthetic hair, it's like once it gets wet, it gets so heavy and it takes so long to dry. And even when you think it's dry because the outsides of your braids feel dry, it's all the little in between spaces that you got to worry about. And you do not want your hair or your scalp to get any type of mold or mildew or anything. So it's really important to help keep your hair be dry if you have yarn, especially. But if you have some other type of hair, then it could be different. But if you have like yarn in your hair specifically, you absolutely do not want to get these wet. So if you feel like your scalp is dirty and you're not ready to take your braids out, then go over your scalp with a makeup wipe and some type of antimicrobial, however you say this word, like this type of spray to help cleanse bacteria and everything. And it's invisible. It doesn't like leave flakes or anything. Like I think it's right there right now. See, like you guys didn't even see that. So want something like that. Another thing that I've been doing to help take care of my yarn braids is botano oil. So I have this kind. I also have the kind that's like a paste that I put on my hair, that I put on my scalp. And I also have peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is something about peppermint, eucalyptus, tea tree, specifically that makes my scalp feel like clean and clear and invigorated, and helps with like the whole itching thing, because when you have braids your hair is going to itch. But a way to reduce that is make sure your hair is clean, your scalp is clean, the hair that you put in your head is clean, your accessories are clean. Keep your scalp clean and oiled and all the things to help preserve it. And although I do have like a satin pillowcase, I do wear my bonnet because this is yarn, and I do have two small dogs and their fur gets everywhere. I do not want a whole bunch of fur and dirt and lint in my hair, because I have dogs. So bonnets are essential. When I'm traveling on public transportation, I make sure to like have my hair kind of up like it is now. And then these like beaded parts, I make sure that is in front of me. I do not want my hair hanging behind me, because when I'm sitting and my back is touching the seat, I do not want my hair touching those seats, guys. I do not want my hair touching those seats. Like, you guys can have your hair touch the seats, the walls, the floor, or whatever you want, but I do not let my hair touch those things. Like, it'll be one thing if I didn't have braids and it was just my hair, and for my hair, I wear bonnets. I wash my hair at least once a week. And, if I felt really grossed out, then I can just go home and wash my hair. But I'm not going to I'm not going to shampoo my yarn braids and be trying to blow dry them. First of all, I don't even own a blow dryer, guys. So I'm just not going to do that. So I just really try and keep my hair clean. Bonnets are essential to help with like any type of dirt, lint, fur that may get in them and cause it to be, kind of dingy and old looking prematurely. Now, it's one thing if I had these in my hair for over a month, which I typically only keep braids in for up to a month. It would be one thing if I paid someone hundreds of dollars and I sat in somebody's chair for 8, 10, 12 hours, and I felt like in order to get my money's worth, I have to keep these in at least 3 or 4 months. Like, no, I braided these myself. Yarn is not that expensive. Beads are not that expensive. The jewelry that I put in my hair is not that expensive. This little yarn tinsel, silver stuff is not that expensive. And if I get overstimulated and I decide, I really just want to run my fingers through my hair, I really just want to wash my hair, all this stuff isn't working, I'm ready to take these out in a week. I'm ready to take these out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks max. Like, if I decide that I'm overstimulated by the whole thing and I'm just ready to I'm over it at any time, I'm okay with just taking my hair down. And even if I only have my hair in for a couple of days, if I feel overstimulated and I decide, oh, this was fun while it lasted, but I actually don't want to do this anymore, I will cut those things out and wash my hair and do a twist out in a minute. Like, I do not care. But those are things that I do to help take care of my hair and to preserve it and to help protect my scalp. Also, another thing that I do is when my hair is kind of pinned up like this, and you see like my hair may get pulled a little bit, I just take the braids and just, pull them up a little bit. Like, my hair doesn't need to be, completely slicked back. It's not gonna make it look too bad. Like, I'm perfectly fine just kind of taking the braids and just moving them up a little bit gently. That way my edges are not being snatched. And when I take my hair down, I'm not losing my edges, guys. And when I braid my own hair, I'm not braiding down to the scalp. As you can see, like, my hair is a little bit loose. And it's not loose because I've had this in for months on end. It's loose because I just don't braid down to the scalp. I'm not about to braid my scalp because I just don't like that. And I feel like it's healthier to braid your hair a little bit looser so that it's not so much tension on the scalp and you can retain your edges, especially, you know, around this area. Like, I just grew my hair back to this length after like over 2 years of being bald and struggling with chemo alopecia, even after treatment, and had to buy, like, what is it called? The generic version of, like, Just for Men or whatever, the hair growth thing. So I had to buy like the generic version of that every 3 months to get my hair to grow in the first place. And I had to like massage my scalp and put like oils and stuff on it a lot in order to get my hair to grow in the first place. So I'm just not in a hurry to do things that will damage my hair and cause it to lose density and cause me to like not have edges or anything. Like, I can do fun styles and still keep, you know, my hair intact. You know, it is a protective hairstyle and you do want to protect your hair. So don't braid your baby hairs in the front or in the back. You know, let your baby hairs be free. Don't always feel like you have to lay your edges and slick it. And if you do edge control, then at night, again, makeup wipe. Go over your edges with like a makeup wipe and like get all that edge control, that gel, that jam, or whatever it is that you put on your edges off. You do not want that stuff sitting on your skin for days or weeks or months on end or however long you keep your hair in. Like, you want to keep your scalp and everything nice and clean. You want to keep your hair clean. You want to keep everything intact and not do too much. Also, like, sometimes, you know, when my hair is like gets a little bit twisted around the edges from me constantly putting it up, putting it down, putting it up, putting it down, pulling it back, and it starts to twist and it looks like it's starting to lock, and I don't want my hair to lock, then I would just take the braid and, you know, twist it around and, you know, put it back to help prevent that from happening. Because I have like lost hair density before in the past where other people have braided my hair and, you know, it started to twist at the edges and lock, and then by the time it was time for me to take it out, it was like, oh my gosh, this is not coming out. It's way too much buildup. It's way too intertwined. Like, you want to help avoid that. Just flip your braids and make sure that they are going in the direction that they're supposed to be going to help prevent that whole twisty thing. But I hope this video helped you guys in answering any questions about, you know, how I take care of my braids, how I keep them clean, how I keep from going insane, how do I keep from being overstimulated from the braids and everything. And I hope that you guys are able to take these tips and tricks to heart and use them if you decide to braid your hair, especially with yarn. And I'll see you guys later in the next video. Bye. Let me know if you have any other questions or any other concerns when it comes to braiding your hair with the yarn specifically. Don't use like typical braiding hair. It's just really hard and crunchy and it irritates my skin a lot. And it doesn't matter how many different times, how many different ways I've tried washing it, conditioning it, oiling it, detoxing it, clarifying it, or whatever the hell. Like, the very structure itself isn't really meant for our skin, so it's just never gonna work for me. So that's why I tend to default to yarn braids. At some point I do want to experiment with some type of braiding hair, find some type of good quality braiding hair that works for me, but also comes in colors that I want it to, because I'm not gonna spend the time, money, or energy to do my hair just to have it be black or brown and look natural. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just not doing that. I saw that Rebundle, they make like plant-based braiding hair, and I've been meaning to try it out, but I've been trying to hold out and wait for them to come out with some new colors. Like, so far they had black, brown, pink, and like a burgundy red. Like, I'm ready for them to come out with other colors of the rainbow. And if you guys know of any type of like hair braiding companies that make like plant-based hair, non-toxic hair, or, you know, other things like that that are more natural and doesn't cause a lot of irritation and are actually soft, because I need my hair to be soft. I cannot with the hard, crunchy hair. Like, I can't. I tried the Brazil wool to do braids. I saw people doing it, but as soon as I touched it, I was like, absolutely not. First of all, even though it's called Brazil wool, it's actually acrylic, and it's not the type of acrylic like what I'm using, which is actually soft. It's like, I don't know, it's like Brillo pad texture. If I can't stand to touch it with my hand, I know that it's not going to feel good on my neck, my chest, my shoulders, or my scalp, and I'm not going to enjoy braiding with something rough because it's going to tear up my hands. So if you know of any nice braiding hair that's soft and non-toxic and isn't, you know, like the typical stuff that you would see in a beauty supply store, then feel free to comment below. And again, if you guys have any other questions or concerns when it comes to braiding your hair with yarn, and let me know in the comments below, and I will do a video answering all your questions. And I do want to experiment with going live, so comment below with what times you think I should go live, what type of Q&As, what type of topics you do want to discuss, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Okay, so before I go, I want to tell you guys, get yourself like a bowl of these type of big duck bill clips that look like this. Get yourself a bowl, a bucket, or however they come in your beauty supply. They look like this, so that when you guys are braiding your hair and you're putting it into sections, you have these giant clips to section off your hair, because you know the hair is gonna get in your face. It's gonna be to the left, it's gonna be to the right, it's gonna just be all over the place. And even when you part your hair, you know, the longer, the thicker, the fuller your hair is, the more of these you're gonna need. So get yourself a whole container of these when you braid your hair, so that you can do it better. Also, another thing that I do when I braid my hair is I start from the outside and braid around in a circle in, so that if I need to go somewhere, if I need to do something real quick, or I don't know, I run out of something and I need to go to the store or whatever the hell, I can put my hair up like this and nobody's gonna know that my hair isn't done. I actually did this for a couple of days, like when I was first braiding my hair and I wasn't finished yet. I just wore my hair up like this, and people did not know that my hair was not done, because only the middle part was unfinished. But because I started with all the outside parts of my head first, I was able to cover that spot, and I was able to just like do some mini twists on my hair and the parts that were not completed yet. And those mini twists kind of blended in with the braids, and nobody really spent a whole lot of time looking at the very top middle part of my hair to try and figure out if my hair is done or not. They were just like, oh, your hair is cute, or oh, your hair is pretty, or I like your hair. Like, nobody noticed. Even on days when I went out and I wasn't wearing like a scarf or anything to cover it, like, people did not notice that my hair was not done. So you want to start from the outside in, and if you get to a point where you're not finished, you want to do like some mini braids or some mini twists, so that it can lay flat and blend in with the rest of the hair, and not just have like a random puff of hair on the left or on the right, or only your right side is done, or only your left side is done, or you know, anything like that. And you can still look put together even when your hair is not complete. So that's another thing that I recommend for you guys. So I hope that these tips and tricks help you guys. Bye. I know this next thing is going to be like a universal thing for most black women, but do not let people touch your hair. People are going to be interested. People are going to be fascinated. People are going to be, oh, that's so interesting. Oh, that's so pretty. Or, oh, I love this. And they're going to want to like try and feel around and touch your hair. Do not let people touch your hair. You do not want whatever germs that those people have on their hands, in your hair, touching your face, touching your pillows, and all of that. Let people look, but don't let people touch. And if somebody tries to touch your hair without your consent, literally slap them. Slap their hand away from you and let them be mad. I do not care. Don't let people touch your hair, whether it's in braids or not. But especially when it's in braids, because it's like, it's not that you can't wash it, But it's just highly inconvenient to wash your hair because people can't keep their hands off of you. So don't let people touch your hair. That's another way to take care of it and preserve it. So yeah, just don't. If you plan on adding beads to your hair like this, especially if you want different colors, there are certain bead containers that will already come with these things that kind of work like needle threaders. But this is kind of short and will only work for like a couple of beads at best. If you plan on doing like 5 or 6 beads like this, they're nice and long, you want to invest in the longer version of this tool. So like this is a tool that comes when you buy the beads. Like some bead containers have this, and this is like a tool separately that's maybe like $1 or $2. I think 2 came in the pack. One of them are white, one of them are pink. One was white, one was black, and then this one's pink. Anyways, you want the nice longer version of this tool if you plan on doing like a full stack of beads like this, because you're gonna be able to fit more beads on this part and be able to get it in there easier, because I don't know, it'll just make things easier. Like however people were putting beads in their hair back in the day without this tool, I don't know. Especially multiple beads like this, you definitely want the longer version instead of the shorter version. If you only want to do 1 or 2 beads at the end of your hair, then sure, the shorter version will work. But if you want to do longer, then you definitely need this, because it's just going to make it so much easier. And if you are doing yarn braids and you plan on doing beads, you want to gradually start cutting the ends and braiding it into there to make the braid get skinnier, because it's not going to naturally get skinnier if you're doing thicker braids like this. Like if you were to be using some type of hair. If you're using like some type of braiding hair, then it's gonna naturally get skinnier on its own. You don't have to cut it for the most part. But if you're doing yarn, it's not gonna get skinnier. It's just like it's gonna stay the same, the full length, depending on how you cut it. So if you want to add beads, you want to gradually start like braiding your hair, clipping some of the ends to make it skinnier. And if you're looking to see an example of that, you can check out my previous videos of me braiding my hair where I show you guys me doing it. So this is the tips and tricks on how I personally care for my yarn braids and how I preserve them, how I protect them, and everything I do to help prepare for braiding my hair and afterwards. If you want to have your hair up, if you want to do half up, half down like this, then I recommend you get like some little scarves like what I'm wearing now. There are no clips in my hair, there are no pins. This is all held up by a scarf. So if you want to do half up, half down, I recommend you braid your hair long enough where you can tie it in a knot and tie it with a scarf so that it can hold up better. And I'm also using this to kind of pin these back just so that the beads are not in my face. So that's the thing, like invest in some scarves, because the pins and the clips and stuff are not going to be able to hold up like the heavy braids. So if you do want to do half up, half down styles, or you're not going to want your braids in your face, then you want to make sure that your hair is long enough to where you can pull up like this. And if you want to do beads and you want to keep the length, then you want to braid your hair a little longer so that when you add the beads at the end and it's time to tie the hair around the bead and it shortens, you can still have that length. And if you want to add any type of tinsel like this is elastic, so it's going to shrink the braid and make it shorter. So on the braids that you plan to add this stuff to, you want to also make that a bit longer so that it's not such a stark contrast. Like the braids come down to here, but then the tinsels come up to here. Like You don't want such a huge jump like that. You want things to look a little bit more cohesive. So like these little tinsel braids, you want to braid these longer, unless you only want to add a partial amount instead of the whole braid. But even then, I still recommend you braid it longer if you want to add that elastic tinsel to it. It is time for you to wash your face, do your skincare, or put on makeup. I highly recommend you pull your hair back. You do not want to get makeup in your hair, because even if you try and wash it out, certain makeup may stain this, because it is, what people use for fabric. And think about, what happens if you drop your foundation on your sweater? What happens if you drop your concealer on like a shirt or whatever? Like, you can rinse it out, but like it'll still be stained, it'll still be tinted, especially with, blushes, tend to stain. You do not want to get makeup in your hair, specifically if you have yarn especially. So I highly recommend you get, one of these little skincare headbands that the girls are wearing to put on there, so that, your hair is protected from the makeup. And also, you can also wear a bonnet, but, I personally don't like getting makeup on my bonnet to sleep on. Like, I don't like when the makeup gets on the edges of my bonnet. It just changes the texture and I don't like it. But, if you're fine with just using your bonnet when you put on your makeup, when you do your skincare, then that's cool with you. Also, another reason why you want to have your hair back, you want to have your hair up, you want to have your hair in the bonnet specifically when you're washing your face, is because when you lean down, all this is going to lean forward, and you do not want to get these wet. Specifically if you're doing yarn braids, you do not want to get these wet. You do not want to get any type of cleanser on here, because it's going to leave some type of residue, especially if you have beads. Like, you do not want to try and clean anything off the beads and the braids, because you would have to take the beads out, wash the braids, wash the beads, and put it back in. Like, it'll just be a whole thing. So you definitely want to keep your hair back, keep your hair covered when you are washing your face, because you don't want this getting all in the sink and all that. So that's like another thing that you guys can do. My mic has died, and I'm hoping that you guys can hear me just fine without it. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.